Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really high-stakes, real-world business challenge. Imagine this. You are crafting a presentation for your executive leadership.
Maybe it's the board, could be the CFO.
Right. And you need a fully loaded, data-driven pitch kit to justify, a pretty significant budget allocation for an AI risk program.
And this isn't some theoretical exercise. The mission for this deep dive is very specific. We're going to synthesize the concrete data, the strategic arguments you need to prove that AI security and governance, they're not overhead.
No.
They are a competitive advantage. I mean, the days of just relying on fear, uncertainty, and doubt to get security budgets approved,
Yeah.
they're officially over.
Okay, so let's unpack that, because we've all been there. For decades, security has lived in the cost center column on the balance sheet. It was the department that was always seen as slowing down innovation, the department that said no.
The Department of No.
And its value only became, super apparent after something terrible had already happened.
That whole paradigm is just obsolete. So the core hook, the thing you have to lead with for your presentation, it has to be this shift from security as a cost center
Right.
to security as a value driver.
Yeah.
And, critically, an enabler.
Mm-hmm.
An enabler of speed and trust. If you can't make that financial connection, you're just not going to get that budget.
And the timing couldn't be more urgent. It feels like executives are already seeing these massive returns on the AI they've already implemented.
They are.
So if AI is already driving value, security has to come in and improve. It enhances that value, not just, that it protects it.
That is the critical mandate.
Yeah.
Our sources confirm a figure that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just astonishing, really. 74% of executives report seeing positive return on investment, or ROI,
74%.
on at least one Gene AI use case within the first year.
The first year.
The first year of implementation. I mean, just think about the speed of that adoption and that return. That single statistic immediately tells the board that AI works, and it works fast. It establishes the baseline value you're there to protect and accelerate.
74% in the first year. I mean, that's why the boardroom is buzzing. That's why they're ready to pour more money into it. But here's the essential ingredient, right? The part that makes your AI risk program non-negotiable. Maximizing those benefits. It's conditional.
It absolutely is. The data shows this profound correlation between achieving those high business benefits and prioritizing what we call trust-related actions.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It encompasses everything under your governance umbrella.
Yeah.
So structured governance, transparency, accountability, fairness mechanisms. These aren't just compliance checklists anymore. They're value multipliers.
So are you saying that the fastest way to lose all those gains, that 74% ROI, is to skimp on the security and governance foundations?
That is precisely the message.
No.
Investing in these foundational areas, the very core of your AI risk program, it doesn't slow innovation down. It unlocks the maximum achievable value safely. And the numbers, they bear this out.
Mm-hmm.
Structured governance measures correlate with up to a 55% improvement in regulatory compliance adherence. It proves that good governance actually accelerates the path to compliance, and therefore it accelerates safe business outcomes.
I want to just hang on that 55% figure for a second. That's not just about avoiding a fine, that's efficiency.
Right.
That means the compliance team isn't manually chasing down data points for an audit. They're running streamlined, automated processes that satisfy regulators faster. It really shifts governance from being a brake to an accelerator.
It's the difference between fighting fires after you get an audit finding
Yeah.
and running a continuous compliance program, which is achievable with well-governed AI.
Yeah.
This is the new paradigm. Your investment isn't just defensive, it's architecting a system that's capable of maximizing financial upside while minimizing the legal and, the reputational downside.
This high-level mandate, it leads us right into what's happening under the hood with the tech stack right now.
Yeah.
This profound development people are calling the agentic shift. And this isn't just Gen AI summarizing documents for you anymore. This is a fundamental change in how software interacts with the business.
And we need to define this very clearly for, the C-suite listener. We define the agentic shift as the evolution toward agentic AI.
Okay.
These are semi-autonomous software entities. They're not just assistants. They're more like digital workers. They're capable of perceiving an environment, making complex decisions
Oh, wow.
based on internal rules and external data, and then taking actions in digital ecosystems, often with no human in the loop.
That level of autonomy, that changes everything for security, doesn't it? If an agent can make a transaction or update a database or provision a new user, its security posture becomes central to the entire organization's risk.
Absolutely. And this is where the ROI truly explodes. Because these agents enable automation that goes far beyond simple efficiency. When you present this to the board, you have to show that investing in security for these agents is critical,
Right.
because the early adopters are already demonstrating superior performance,
Yep.
specifically in efficacy. The quality and effectiveness of their defense over mere speed or efficiency.
That's a great distinction. Efficacy over efficiency. So how do we quantify that for an executive who, usually just cares about cost savings?
Well, for organizations we classify as early adopters, and that means they're dedicating at least 50% of their future AI budget specifically to these agentic systems, the security returns are noticeably higher. We're seeing that 67% of these early adopters reported a positive impact on their security posture.
And how does that compare to everyone else, the ones who might be just, dipping their toes in with basic Gen AI?
It's a stark difference. Across all organizations, only 49% saw a positive security impact.
Wow.
That gap, the difference between 67 and 49%, that is quantitative proof that the more strategic and deliberate you are about integrating agentic AI, the better your security outcomes become. It suggests the investment required to govern and secure the agent. It pays dividends in overall organizational resilience.
Okay, so improved security posture is great, but we need to put a finer point on it. What specific efficacy wins are these early adopters actually seeing that translate into real reduced risk?
We have concrete data points here. 85% of those who cited an improved security posture specifically mentioned an improved ability to identify complex or novel threats.
That's a massive efficacy win right there.
It is. And an equal share, 85%, cited improved intelligence and response integration.
So that means the AI isn't just closing a simple vulnerability ticket faster, it's spotting a sophisticated multi-stage attack earlier and integrating that new threat intel instantly into the defense strategy across the whole enterprise.
Exactly.
It moves you from reacting to known threats to proactively defending against the unknown.
It's turning latent intelligence into actionable defense. So once we've established efficacy, then we can move to efficiency, which is, of course, essential for proving operational savings. We need to translate these high-level efficacy wins into tangible, measurable gains in the Security Operations Center, the SOC metrics.
What are those executive-level metrics that truly show an operational change?
We focus on time and volume. For the early adopters, 65% reported a tangible reduction in time to resolution.
Okay.
And maybe more importantly for staff morale and the budget, 58% reported a significant reduction in the total number of security tickets.
That reduction in ticket volume, that's the real story, isn't it? Because it directly addresses the alert fatigue we've been hearing about for years, that constant state of being overwhelmed that's just crippling operational continuity.
Precisely. Alert fatigue is a massive operational debt. When AI systems are deployed strategically, they allow human analysts to dramatically shift their workload. They can transition from spending, say, 80% of their time on low-value repetitive tasks
Right.
to focusing on high-value strategic work like architectural design, threat hunting, and genuine root cause analysis.
Can you give us some specific examples of those low-value tasks that are now being handled by this agentic AI?
Sure. We're seeing powerful applications of robotics process automation, or RPA, coupled with Gen AI. These systems can automate generating highly complex audit evidence reports, tasks that used to take GRC specialists days to complete.
Days.
Days. They can also perform continuous access entitlement reviews, confirming that users still need the high level of access they hold, rather than waiting for the annual, often superficial, manual review process. The goal is just to maximize the impact of the highly paid, highly skilled human expertise you already have on your team.
To make this pitch kit truly compelling, we need the war stories, the real-world examples that anchor these data points we just discussed. When you're speaking to the C-suite, you need those marquee examples that show them what world-class defense actually looks like. Let's start with the immediate financial impact of AI in fraud detection, using the MasterCard example.
The problem facing massive financial services networks is just the overwhelming volume of transactions, coupled with this existential need for instantaneous decision-making. Traditional rule-based fraud detection, it often fails here. It generates way too many false positives. And when a customer's legitimate card gets declined, it creates friction. It leads to lost business, and it spikes the chargeback costs associated with real fraud.
And customer friction is financial loss, pure and simple. So what makes MasterCard's system so groundbreaking?
MasterCard's Decision Intelligence System. It's really a flagship example of high-speed AI efficacy at scale. Our sources indicate this system analyzes over 160 billion transactions per year.
160 billion.
The volume alone is staggering. But the astonishing metric here, the one that drives operational resilience, is the detection speed. This complex analysis and the decision to approve or deny a transaction, it has to happen within 50 milliseconds.
50 milliseconds.
Okay.
That's the time it takes for a nerve impulse to move about half a meter in your body. It's truly machine speed.
It has to be, to match the pace of modern commerce. So the ROI here isn't hidden. It's maximizing transaction throughput while aggressively reducing fraud. The primary ROI points are immediate, boosting detection rates, minimizing that customer friction, and critically, drastically reducing chargeback costs. The ROI story is that fast, secure transactions keep the revenue engine running smoothly.
For the technically savvy executives in the room, let's just quickly touch on the sophistication involved in that 50-millisecond decision.
The underlying technical mechanisms are highly advanced. These systems use a combination of supervised machine learning and anomaly detection. They integrate a multitude of data points instantaneously transaction data, geolocation, user IPs, device attributes,
Wow.
and even behavioral biometrics, how the user is typing or holding their device. This massive complex input is all integrated directly into real-time payment flow authorization APIs, which is what allows that 50-millisecond decision.
That leads perfectly into this fascinating collaborative security model used in finance, federated learning. This seems to solve the long-standing problem of sharing threat intelligence without violating the strict privacy laws that protect raw transaction data.
Federated learning is it's a genius solution for addressing collaborative cyber and fraud risk in a highly regulated industry. Historically, competitive pressure and regulations like GDPR, they prevented institutions from pooling their raw transaction datasets.
Right, which limited everyone.
It severely limited the collective ability to spot emerging novel fraud patterns.
So how does federated learning crack that code? How do they get the benefit of collective intelligence without compromising that customer privacy?
The mechanism is really elegant. Each institution trains local AI models on its own proprietary, highly sensitive data, and crucially, they share only encrypted updates or aggregated node weights,
Ah.
not the raw customer data. They share that with a central coordinator, which then uses these updates to refine a global overarching model.
It's like a global team building muscle memory for defense, but they never actually see each other's private data sets.
That is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
It unlocks collective intelligence on sophisticated threats, like organized crime groups, using novel social engineering tactics, without compromising customer privacy or violating competitive positions.
And the accuracy must be good.
The accuracy is excellent. Studies show these systems often match or even outperform centralized models, achieving high accuracy measures like AUCs, that's area under the curve, greater than 0.95. This high accuracy delivers a significant lift over the traditional siloed defense systems.
All right, let's shift the focus from fraud to internal operational stability. The next major area for executive buy-in is resilience. In massive, high-volume retail, downtime isn't just a nuisance, it's catastrophic.
It is.
And AI fundamentally changes the strategy from reactive crisis management to proactive resilience planning.
Operational resilience is a top concern for any board. When an organization integrates AI into risk management across the entire risk matrix, we're talking cyber, data, risk, and operational resilience, they are fundamentally shifting the conversation from just planning for downtime to actively preventing it in real time.
The Walmart case study provides a perfect, quantifiable example of this in action. They operate at such a scale that even a minute of system downtime across their vast network, it means millions in lost sales and a severe hit to their reputation.
Walmart faces serious challenge. Delayed incident detection was leading to unacceptable downtime risks. So their AI solution was the development of the AI Detect and Respond platform, or ADR.
Okay.
This is a massive bespoke system designed to integrate machine learning, deep learning, and rule-based checks. It leverages over 3,000 models simultaneously to continuously monitor system health and identify anomalies as they occur, often long before a human analyst would even see the cascading effect.
Over 3,000 models running constantly. That sounds resource intensive, but the value must justify the means. What was the measurable impact on their operations?
The measurable impact absolutely validates the investment. Within just 3 months of deployment, ADR achieved 63% incident coverage. But the executive-level metric that matters most is the reduction in detection time. It reduced the mean time to detect, or MTTD, by over 7 minutes compared to traditional monitoring methods.
7 minutes. When you're talking about an environment where systems are processing thousands of transactions a second, 7 minutes of detection time saved. That translates directly into preventing minutes of very costly downtime.
It does. It translates directly into minimized downtime risk and fundamentally enhanced operational stability. This is the argument for resilience. AI allows you to shift from being reactive to being preemptive, which significantly strengthens stakeholder and investor confidence in your operational stability.
Our final use case focuses on transforming the Security Operations Center, the engine room of cyber defense. The pitch here is that the AI risk investment doesn't just hire a new digital employee, it accelerates the human team exponentially. We can stop overwhelming our best human analysts and transform the SOC from a constant triage center into a strategic preemptive system.
The numbers showcasing the efficiency and speed gains in the SOC are incredibly compelling. When AI tools are deeply embedded in the incident management pipeline, we see a reduction in mean time to containment, or MTTC, by over 65%.
65%. And containment is the most critical phase in a breach. It's stopping the bleeding.
It is. Cutting that time by 2/3 is massive.
Let's focus on triage efficiency, because false positives, they're the single biggest time sink that drains analyst resources and causes burnout.
They're the hidden operational cost. In one documented case study focusing on an AI-driven incident response management, or IRM, system, the adaptive scoring and detection capabilities led to a 59% reduction in false positives.
Wow, almost cutting the noise in half.
Almost in half. And simultaneously, it led to a 30% improvement in detection rates and a 47% reduction in response times.
That is the definition of high efficacy combined with high efficiency. You're better at finding the real threat, much faster at responding, and you're nearly eliminating all the useless noise. This must be music to a CISO's ears.
It is. In terms of just the sheer volume of alerts, the data shows that AI for security operations can lead to an overall 60% alert reduction and a 50% faster response time, minimizing that manual triage.
So you can visualize this for the board.
Exactly. Imagine a funnel. You have this high volume of alerts pouring in tens of thousands daily. AI analytics, leveraging machine learning, it filters out up to 90% of that initial volume.
90%?
Leaving the human analyst to review only the truly critical threats. This efficiency gain, it frees up your staff, and it transforms the entire operational posture of the security team.
We have the war stories, we have the efficacy proof. Now we move to the ammunition for the budget fight. This is where we arm you, the listener, with the core financial justification metrics required for that pitch kit. The language has to shift from internal security activity reports, how many patches we installed, to executive-level outcomes and financial impact.
That shift is fundamental.
Yeah.
Boards and executive leadership, they do not want lists of findings. They demand proof of resilience and measurable ROI. The focus has to be explicitly shifted to proving efficacy over efficiency.
So efficiency, doing things quickly, that's good.
It's good, but efficacy, doing the right things effectively, that's what prevents millions in loss.
Which means we need outcome-based dashboards, right? Not just saying we onboarded a new detection platform, but rather this platform reduced our average containment time from 4 hours to 45 minutes.
Exactly. We need reports that highlight specific risk reduction and improved operational resilience, backed by external validation evidence, if you can get it. And the goal is clever financial stewardship. You're proving value not just by demanding a budget for new platforms, but by demonstrating high value from your existing tech stack.
Ah, that's interesting.
Your Microsoft Defender, your CrowdStrike, your Entra IDs. You're using AI analytics to prove you are maximizing the value from your ownership.
That's a powerful distinction. You're making the case that AI enables better leverage of existing investments, making the entire security spend look more fiscally responsible.
Now, for the gold standard of quantifying preemptive investment, how do we measure what didn't happen? This is the averted loss, which is the most powerful justification metric you can bring into the CFO's office.
The value of the crisis that never occurred.
We introduced the breach cost avoidance metric. It is the critical financial tool for justifying this kind of investment. It transforms the abstract concept of risk into a tangible dollar value. And the calculation is straightforward, but it's powerful. You multiply the estimated risk reduction percentage from your new AI program by the average breach cost, and then by the annual breach probability for your industry or your size.
Can you walk us through an example using the latest industry averages so you, the listener, can plug in your own numbers?
Certainly. According to recent data, the average global cost of a data breach has reached a staggering $4.5 million.
$4.5 million.
That's the starting point.
Mm.
Let's assume that for the average organization, the annual breach probability is about 20%, a 1 in 5 chance.
Okay.
Now, if your proposed AI program reduces that specific breach risk by, say, 30%, which is a conservative but realistic figure, the annual calculated savings is approximately $267,000.
$267,000 in averted loss. That is a tangible number executives understand. It proves that the cost avoided is the value generated by the security investment. It really makes it a profit center, in a way, through loss avoidance.
It creates a clear line item for the ROI. And if we get more specific, the identity and access space is a massive, high-impact attack vector that AI can address immediately. And that leads to even clearer ROI.
Why is identity security the highest stake area right now?
Because the attackers go where the door is weakest. 61% of breaches now involve credential data.
Wow.
Furthermore, the average large organization manages a staggering 192,000 identities.
It's 192,000.
Employees, contractors, bots, service accounts. That attack surface is enormous, and it requires continuous machine speed risk assessment, which is just impossible to do manually.
So AI-driven risk management in this space is a direct protection of the most common point of failure. What's the financial outcome for implementing these controls?
The key AI identity security data is definitive. Organizations using AI for identity risk management reduce identity-related incidents by a remarkable 75%.
70.
That is a 3/4 reduction in your primary breach vector. And when you combine that monumental risk reduction with the operational savings from automating reviews and the efficiency gains from compliance, the bottom line result for a medium-sized enterprise is a potential 85% first-year ROI.
Hold on, 85% first-year ROI. That sounds almost, frankly, too good to be true. What operational complexities or hidden costs do companies commonly underestimate when they try to achieve that aggressive ROI figure?
That's an excellent and a very necessary question. That 85% figure is achievable, but it depends heavily on successful integration and, crucially, high-quality data.
Ah, the data.
That data. What companies underestimate is the complexity of cleaning up years of messy identity data orphan accounts, inconsistent entitlement structures, legacy systems that don't talk to each other. The ROI is there, but the initial governance lift in preparing the data for the AI model can be substantial. If the AI is trained on garbage data, it will produce garbage decisions,
Which means more risk.
which translates into compliance risk and system slowdowns.
That nuance is vital. Okay, so now let's give the listener a comprehensive dashboard. We need a set of 4 distinct categories of metrics they can use for executive reporting, moving beyond just that singular ROI figure.
We've categorized these metrics into 4 strategic areas that resonate directly with different parts of the executive team. First, operational efficiency.
Okay.
This targets the CFO and the COO by focusing on reducing the manual drag on the business. The KPI here is the reduction in manual access reviews, or MAR, cycle time. We talked about automating these tedious tasks. Organizations can reliably target up to an 80% time reduction in these manual compliance processes, which translates directly into massive operational expense reduction and staff reallocation. Second is risk reduction efficacy. This measures the quality of the security outcome, which is vital for the CISO and the risk committee. Key metrics are the reduction in mean time to detect and mean time to respond. We saw the speed gains earlier, the fraud detection in 50 milliseconds, or incident triage being 50% faster. These metrics prove the AI is enhancing your defensive strength, not just your speed.
Okay, what's third?
Third, compliance efficiency. This metric is highly valued by general counsel and GRC teams. It measures the reduction in audit preparation hours and the severity of findings. By automating evidence generation and continuously monitoring compliance frameworks, the evidence shows a possible 55% improvement in regulatory compliance adherence.
And can you put a dollar figure on that?
We can. An estimated compliance efficiency gain of $125,000 by automating these repetitive GRC tasks. This frees up expensive legal and compliance time.
And the fourth?
Finally, workforce productivity. This reframes the security investment as a productivity multiplier for the CHRO and department heads. The KPI is strategic resource allocation. By automating the low-value work, We estimate a potential $150,000 productivity gain per strategic team.
Oh,
By reallocating staff from menial tasks to high-value strategic work, like advanced threat hunting, architecture design, or leading innovation projects.
That comprehensive list proves that every dollar spent on AI risk management contributes directly back to the business, whether it's through saved labor, averted breach costs, faster transactions, or just leveraging tech you already own. It completely flips the security narrative. We've established the ROI. We have the 85% first-year return, the 50-millisecond detection, the $4.45 million breach cost avoidance. But all of that value, it rests on a crucial, often overlooked, non-technical foundation: trust. I mean, investing in security is meaningless if the AI systems themselves are inherently flawed, biased, or opaque.
You have hit the nail on the head. Trust is the foundational asset across an entity and its stakeholders, your customers, regulators, employees. High trust-related actions, demonstrable transparency, established accountability, and measurable fairness, they correlate directly with achieving higher business benefits from GenAI.
So we're not talking about, like, feel-good ethics here. We're talking about cold, hard financial risk protection.
Precisely. Risk management is a direct subset of trust-building activities. Trust is the commercially desired outcome. If you fail to build that trust foundation, you risk the ultimate price. The failure case that costs millions, ruins reputations, and forces you to abandon valuable, revenue-generating initiatives.
Let's look at a couple specific examples that showcase the financial cost of these ethical failures and inadequate bias control, because these are potent arguments for the pitch kit.
We have several cautionary tales that demonstrate that ethical failure is a financial failure. The high-profile failure of Amazon's AI recruiting tool, which the company abandoned back in 2018, is a perfect illustration.
Right.
The system was found to be exhibiting systemic gender bias because it was trained on historical male-dominated hiring data. The cost wasn't just the millions they spent developing it. It was the reputational hit and the lost time in developing a competitive recruitment advantage.
And that's the classic inherited bias problem, right?
Yeah.
The system learned from biased historical data, so the bias wasn't intentional.
Right.
It was just inherited. Yet the financial and ethical consequences were identical to intentional discrimination.
Exactly. And the legal costs are tangible, even in smaller cases. Look at the remote tutoring company, iTutor Group. They had to pay a $365,000 settlement because its AI recruiting software was automatically rejecting female applicants aged 55 and older and male applicants aged 60 and older.
A $365,000 mistake just because the model was allowed to perpetuate discriminatory patterns that were already embedded in the training data. That highlights the critical financial exposure of poorly governed AI.
And we can't forget consumer trust. Air Canada was ordered to pay damages to a passenger after its virtual assistant provided incorrect information about a bereavement discount. The court ruled the airline was responsible for the information provided by its AI agent.
Wow.
These cases underline that a failure to govern AI leads to concrete legal exposure and a critical breakdown of consumer trust, which is incredibly difficult to rebuild.
So how do we transition from these anecdotal failure cases to a structured, defensible, and legally compliant plan? The organization has to adopt a holistic approach that requires immediate collaboration across legal, compliance, risk, and IT.
This is where we anchor the strategy in global frameworks. When you're presenting to the board, you have to present key regulatory frameworks as strategic anchors that demonstrate foresight and a commitment to global compliance.
Let's start with the immediate, pragmatic recommendation for internal adoption, a framework that's designed for flexibility.
That would be the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, or the AI RMF. This is voluntary guidance, but it is exceptionally useful for practical risk management across the entire AI lifecycle. It emphasizes a structured yet adaptable process, which makes it an ideal internal baseline for immediate adoption. It really focuses on mapping, measuring, and managing risks.
Now, for the conversation that every CEO is having, global regulatory risk, we have to address the EU AI Act.
The EU AI Act is the definitive regulatory framework with real legal implications. It's moving beyond guidance into hard law. It features explicit tiered risk categorization that dictates the level of governance required. Unacceptable risk, which are banned systems, high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk.
And what are the real implications for those high-risk systems under the EU AI Act?
For high-risk systems, and that includes things like critical infrastructure, employment systems, lending decisions, the requirements are stringent. They cover data governance, extensive technical documentation, human oversight mandates, and transparency requirements. And the financial risk of noncompliance is staggering.
How staggering.
Penalties can reach up to 35 million euros or 7% of worldwide annual turnover, whichever is higher.
Wow.
When you present that number, it makes the cost of a proactive governance program look like a bargain.
That's a powerful motivator. So if you're a global company, the investment in the NIST AI RMF is a strategic precursor to complying with the EU AI Act, allowing you to move safely into those high-return AI use cases.
It connects internal best practice to external legal necessity. And finally, for the overarching ethical compass, we reference the IE Ethically Aligned Design, or EE principles. This provides a comprehensive set of guidelines focusing on prioritizing human rights, well-being, transparency, and accountability. It provides the ethical context that underlies both the NIST and EU frameworks.
These frameworks, they break down into practical pillars that the risk program has to address immediately to achieve that dual goal of trust and value. Let's detail the three most essential pillars: bias mitigation, transparency, and data protection.
Bias mitigation is foundational. As we saw in the recruiting examples, this requires actively monitoring data quality for drifts and biases, both before the model is trained and continuously during operation. The core challenge is ensuring the accuracy, reliability, and measurable fairness of the data used to train and operate these systems.
Which directly addresses the black box problem and the need for explainability, especially in regulated industries where decisions must be defensible.
Exactly. Transparency and explainable AI, or XAI, is the objective here. XAI is crucial in industries like finance, insurance, and healthcare, where risk assessments or loan approvals must come with a rationale for stakeholders, for regulatory review, and for audit approvals. Without explainability, compliance teams will resist adoption, which stalls the business benefits.
And finally, data protection. AI consumes massive data sets. How does governance strengthen data protection and provenance beyond traditional methods?
Well, AI models consume huge amounts of data, often including highly sensitive personally identifiable information, PII. Governance ensures strict compliance with regulations like GDPR and CCPA by enforcing data minimization principles, securing the storage environment, and tracking data provenance.
Data provenance. So that's the origin and the life of the data.
The origin, the quality, and the transformation of the data throughout its entire life cycle.
That provenance tracking is essential, isn't it? Because it helps mitigate the risk of a rogue AI system, or what some people are calling the automated insider.
Absolutely. Data provenance tracking is essential for mitigating internal control risks. If a model starts producing biased or unexpected outcomes, tracking its provenance allows you to trace whether that was due to malicious tampering, injection of poor quality data, or simply a biased source data set. It lets you quickly isolate and remediate the risk rather than waiting for a full-scale incident investigation.
We've built the strategy, we have the financial model. Now we have to look forward because the adversary is not waiting. What does the evolving threat landscape look like, and how must our security investment evolve to meet that machine speed threat?
The fundamental challenge, and the reason we need to move toward autonomous defense, is the accelerating speed of malicious activity. Adversaries have moved past manual exploitation. They're using AI agents to automate and streamline sophisticated attacks.
Like
Everything from deepfake social engineering and highly personalized phishing campaigns to end-to-end credential abuse and rapid account takeovers, or ATOs.
So we're entering an era where human response time is no longer viable. What does the data predict about this acceleration?
Gartner predicts that AI agents will reduce the time required to exploit account exposures by a massive 50% by 2027.
50%.
50%. Think about the implications of that. The time between a vulnerability being publicly disclosed and an attacker successfully capitalizing on it will be cut in half. This acceleration means that relying on human intervention time for critical security decisions is quickly becoming an unacceptable risk. You simply cannot afford a human analyst response time when the attack takes milliseconds.
That paints a powerful picture for the board. If they accept this threat, they have to logically accept the need for strategic investment in matching that speed.
The pitch to the executive leadership must champion investments toward matching that machine speed, moving toward autonomous risk remediation. This is the evolution of security, from a static castle wall to a self-healing biological immune system.
Well, what does that shift look like in practical, budget-justifying terms?
It means championing systems that are self-healing and continuously verified, replacing periodic manual reviews. We need dynamic privilege adjustment based on real-time risk scores.
Right.
So if a user's behavior suddenly looks suspicious, the system should instantly reduce their access before a human even sees the alert.
Right.
The capital have to gravitate toward agentic AI solutions that perform automated preemptive defense and dynamic control adjustments at machine speed.
And given the urgent threat of AI-accelerated account takeovers and credential abuse, where should an organization place the single most crucial near-term defensive investment?
The required immediate action is expediting the move toward phishing-resistant, passwordless multi-factor authentication, MFA, particularly utilizing multi-device passcase. This is foundational. Since 61% of breaches involve credentials, hardening that initial entry point against the most sophisticated AI-generated social engineering attacks has to be prioritized now.
For organizations that don't have the resources to build massive proprietary in-house AI research teams, because that talent is scarce and expensive, what's the pragmatic, cost-effective way to scale this advanced security posture?
Strategic partnerships are the answer, especially for medium-sized enterprises. Partnering with managed security service providers, MSSPs, that specialize in monitoring and protecting AI systems is a cost-effective and scalable solution. This allows organizations to access expert guidance, continuous threat intelligence, and advanced tools without needing to recruit and retain that highly expensive, specialized in-house AI security talent. It's a way to purchase machine-speed defense without building the machine yourself.
So what does this all mean? We've covered everything from the 74% executive ROI confirmation to the legal risks of the EU AI Act and the necessity of 50-millisecond decision-making. How do we synthesize all this for you, the listener, who is about to walk into that budget meeting?
The synthesis is clear. Security is no longer a cost center. It is a strategic enabler of speed, trust, and compliance confirmed by quantifiable ROI. The value is proven. 74% of executives see positive returns within the first year of AI adoption. And the path to capturing and maintaining that value lies in proactively integrating AI governance standards, like the NIST AI RMF, into your existing enterprise risk frameworks.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the pitch kit. What are the 3 most powerful takeaways they need to lead with?
First, AI delivers measurable value through faster efficacy, proven by the 50-millisecond fraud detection, and higher operational efficiency, demonstrated by the 80% reduction in manual access reviews.
Okay, number 2.
Second, the investment is financially justified through concrete, measurable metrics like breach cost avoidance and quantified first-year ROI, specifically up to 85% in identity security initiatives.
And third?
Third, trust and governance are non-negotiable foundations. Without accountability and transparency, you cannot unlock the maximum business benefits, and you will face severe legal exposure.
That is a rock-solid, financially defensible case. Now, we'll leave you with one final provocative thought, something to consider as you lead your organization through this transformation.
Consider the convergence of factors we've discussed today. The exponential pace of technological acceleration, the global enforcement of new regulations like the EU AI Act, and the increasing market demand for hyper-personalized real-time services. This confluence is creating financial and operational risks so significant to legacy business models, the static firewalls, the thick binders, the manual review processes, that organizations may soon have no choice but to shift toward more open, data-driven, and intrinsically resilient business models.
So the question then is not if.
Exactly. The question is not if your organization will be forced to adapt to this model of autonomous, governed defense, but rather how much competitive advantage you will gain by leading the shift now, proactively building security as an enabling capability rather than waiting for regulations or a catastrophic breach to force your hand.